excited because Josh Wetterhahn, where'd he go? There he is. Hi, Josh. Who I've worked with for many years now, and we were on staff together back in '03 in Houston. Josh drives our diversity-related curriculum training. And so here he is with us, so it's great to have him in the room. Anyways, I'm really excited to talk about the approach this year. We made some really big changes to our approach to DCA last year, and then Josh has been taking what we learned from last year and made some changes to this year as well. So in terms of what we're actually trying to accomplish in this session, is really for you all to be equipped to help clarify misunderstandings that our core members might have. So literally in the theory that is inherent in our DCA course, like there's literally some theory there, and I think sometimes it can be challenging for core members to understand what we are and are not saying about these different things, and so this is to help you, I guess, make sure that you understand the theory so that you could help to clarify it for people. And then for you to also be able to draw on relevant examples from your own experience to compel your core members that diversity-related programming is important. So let's start there. Okay. So let me just sort of rewind to pre-2008. And if you came, I was a 2001 core member where we actually had no DCA curriculum whatsoever. We talked about diversity in different places, but it wasn't targeted at all. In 2003, we had the weave it in everywhere model. Just target it everywhere. Just clean it up. We don't want to do it in just one place. It needs to be everywhere, which meant the casting started not at all. And then we created what many of you sort of experienced as a core member, which had some real strengths to it, but definitely had some struggle, which is we had DCA courses. And, to be honest, it was one of the lowest ranked structures every year by core members, and actually seemed to sort of undermine some of our cultural roles for a couple different reasons. I think one, people said, I absolutely know that, I know that diversity must be important to talk about, but I actually sometimes just don't get what we're talking about, and I don't get how this relates to teaching. I got literally just confused about what I'm supposed to be taking away from this. And this was important across the spectrum of ethnicities and backgrounds. And people also said, DCA, the way it's facilitated, gets really combative sometimes. It's really uncomfortable. I'm afraid to say anything. I'm afraid to correct someone if they say something. I'm just so uncomfortable in this environment and scared to talk that I'm actually just shutting down. And that was also feedback that we got across the board. So starting really in 2007, really actually in 2006, Josh started doing some research to say, okay, what is it? Well, we need to figure something out. Diversity is a huge topic. Like we could just throw the word diversity into the room and we could probably bat it around for 7 hours. But to what end? There's a ton of things that you could talk about when it comes to diversity, but this is a teacher training program. And so it should be most relevant to teaching. So we undertook to understand, what teacher actions, what things would we do as teachers that are most affected by issues of diversity? Because that's probably what we can talk about. We don't have all the time in the world. We don't have 25 hours. We have 5 weeks. We have a given number of hours within those 5 weeks to talk about all the different things that are important to teaching. So let's figure out what it is we'd actually need to talk about. And then let's understand what underlying factors, diversity-related factors, would impact those teacher actions. And so Josh and his team did a lot of research. And I'm basically going to summarize the bullet points there and say, we're talking to a lot of different people, core members, university professors, students, parents, community members, principals, from a cross-section of communities that we teach in, from the education community at large, to really undertake, what are the teacher-related actions that diversity most impacts. And what we came to is essentially this, and you read about this in your pre-work. And what we essentially found is that there are maybe you should start at the bottom actually, there are 4 teacher actions that really seem impacted by issues of diversity. And I don't think they're that surprising. I think those are pretty intuitive. So the degree to which you're able to build relationships with parents and guardians, with your colleagues, your ability to create a safe and welcoming environment, and your ability to hold and maintain high expectations. So those are the teacher actions that we found are most impacted by issues of diversity. But then specifically, the things that impact those teacher actions are basically your skill on what we call the competencies. Your skill at what we call suspending judgment, assets-based thinking, locus of control or growth mindset, interpersonal awareness. In this session, we're not going to go into these definitions because you read all about them. They're a thorough overview of what they are. And we will say, I would say that, you know, from on a facilitator standpoint, and as we see in the room from last year, and having watched this been facilitated from years before, it was a lot easier when we know what we're talking about. This session's objective will be about parents and guardians, and we can talk specifically about the competencies that most impact your ability to build a relationship with parents and guardians. There are lots of issues of diversity related to building relationship with parents and guardians. So that's what we came to last year. And if you were here last year, you'll see that some of the kind of terminology has been changed somewhat, and some of the definitions have been changed somewhat. That's based on what we observed from last year. Like literally, we observed this last year and said, okay, there are still some things that actually didn't come out as clearly or sort of got interpreted or played out and just didn't, in a way we didn't anticipate. We're actually going to even revise it for this year. So what you're going to see, sessions that have very clear objectives. Last year, we sort of avoided talking about bias in an open-ended way. It's much more direct. And we used multimedia materials that were much more rich in content. And I do want to say that I think this is a big difference. Because core members in the sessions actually listen to audio clips of people reflecting on very challenging experiences from a cross-section of core members. And I think it was easier to relate. You know, these were not core members that were saying like completely just like things that were out of left field, and actually like things that are very, I think, real to grapple with. And core members like, yeah, I can see how I would grapple with that as well. So anyways, I think it really, the content themselves in the session was much, much richer. And our results were much higher. And I will say that these are national results, but our Atlanta results in specific, I mean, were really significantly higher than they had ever been before. They were across the country. And it's because the sessions themselves were a lot better. The sessions themselves were a lot better and made a lot more sense. People did not leave saying, I don't get how this is teaching. There were some other concerns we'll talk about in a second, and that's why they look a little different this year. But you'll see that there are increases. There's still disparities between groups, which is something that we need to think about. And we talked about this welcoming environment. So part of what we're trying to do this year is replicate the success that we saw last year, but then also build upon it. Okay?